A mugshot used as a campaign photo. India landing on the moon. Strange photos of quantumly entangled particles. It wouldn't be Friday Night Live without some laughs with Edge of Wonder. And there's a lot to laugh about. For one, President Trump's photo has become the latest viral meme, but this time from both the left and the right.
Yeah, and stargazers are praising India's spacefaring efforts, while some are already doubting its future. And the question is, everyone is asking, did they really land on the moon? Not because the world is flat, though.
Right. Then in tech news, scientists made a 3D model from 2 correlated photons, which has some really interesting implications for quantum technology and data acquisition I'd never even thought about.
And in otherworldly news, a black ring of smoke in the sky that was filmed in the 60s appeared to turn into a UFO and then back into the cloud. What was it? And could this explain what people are seeing in the skies today with the black rings of smoke in the sky? There's quite a bit of that. So we're going to get into this.
Yeah, so join us tonight for all of this, plus a weekly Mandela Effect, a metaphysical segment, and of course, the Rise.t exclusive segments, a live Q&A, and the top 10 weirder news of the week.
Yeah, ever heard of microchips in cheese, buffering UFOs, or a theft that goes beyond a regular porch pirate? Well, you will tonight. So we'll see you guys out
on the edge of Porch Pirates.
Yeah, there you go. All right. And if you're listening to our Edge of Wonder podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or elsewhere, please give us a 5-star rating and review so we can reach more people. And also remember to hit like, follow, subscribe on YouTube, Rumble, Granjing World, Twitter, and wherever else you're following us on.
Did you just call it Ganja World?
Ganja.
It's Ganjing World, Ben.
To Ganja World. That's
a
probably
totally different website. Don't go there.
I think there might be a Ganja World. I honestly think I heard of it. I don't know.
I'm sure there is.
I wouldn't know really, but yeah, probably.
So yeah, there's a lot going on. How you doing, Ben?
Yeah, doing pretty good. How about you, Rob?
Good. Yeah, there's a lot of laughs last night after those mugshots.
Yeah, I mean, I wasn't quite sure what was going to happen with this, and it's like everybody was. It was like all these memes of like, people like trying to like refresh, like waiting for it to come out. And I'm like, is this really going to happen? And then of course it did. So
yeah, we'll be getting into that a little bit later. Yeah. There's a lot to cover today for sure. Gosh, where did you want to start? What's the weekly Mandela Effect?
Yeah, let's get into that. Well, okay, so I mean, this is one of the older Mandela effects, right? The Moonraker movie.
Oh, yeah, this is one of the most legit Mandela effects.
This is the one that really
punched you in the face.
This one and the Tinkerbell one that doesn't exist anymore. Where Tinkerbell's flying around the logo and does that with her wand, and then the logo appears.
Yeah, that's nonsense. Exist. That totally happens.
These two really, really messed with me in the very beginning, and I was like, there's already so much we looked into this. The lady who plays Dolly. Okay, so let me backtrack for those of you younger people that have never watched Moonraker. It's not really a great James Bond movie in today's world anymore. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend watching it, honestly. But there's Jaws. He's the main bad guy in the movie, and he has like a metal mouth. That's why they call him Jaws. And then there's this girl named Dolly in the movie, and at the end, he kind of saves her, and then he smiles at her with his metal mouth, and then she smiles at him. And she has what everyone remembers, braces in the movie. And because they both have like metal mouths, they kind of like fall in love. Now, when you watch the movie, she doesn't have metal braces, and the scene makes zero sense because that was the whole point.
And everyone that you ask, like any older person that you ask who remembers that film really well, if you don't tell him about any of this and you just say, hey, that girl that he met in the, wherever it was, like why was that special? Like, what happened? And they'll be like, oh yeah, he fell in love with her because she had braces. They'll all say that, which is really weird.
Yeah, so it is. So the reason why I'm bringing this up now is because I found a newspaper article from 1979 that specifically talks about her braces in the movie. So it says Keels. Yeah, so I kill that's the woman who plays her. It says the Keels love affair is pretty funny. He meets his waif of a girl and gives her his aluminum smile, and she smiles back. And call her braces galore. She has about as much hardware in her mouth as he does. Of such a simple pleasure is of such simple pleasures is love born.
That just this is
All
a
right, it's kind of
this is a key remnant.
Yeah,
Why?
it is.
Why? And this is closer to the time. Why would he get this detail wrong if she never had braces in the movie?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So this is this was like, whoa, this really stood out because that's what everyone remembers. You can't even see her teeth. I mean, especially back then in the 70s, like when people had braces, I mean, it was like pretty ugly. I mean, almost as bad as Jaws in this movie.
Well,
Like
they
if
were
you
just
look,
funky silver braces, like big and like obvious.
yeah, and in our Mandela Effect video, the very first one I think we put out, we show there's actually I think it's Visa or MasterCard, one of the two, and it's a commercial for a Visa card, and it has the actor Jaws checking out in line buying stuff, and he pays with his Visa card and he smiles at the cashier, and then she smiles back and she has braces on in the commercial.
Yeah, why would they use that in the Visa commercial if
Yeah.
the original movie didn't have the braces?
Yeah, exactly.
What's so strange about this, and what Lindsay is showing on screen right now for everybody watching, is we have like a whole series on the Mandela Effect, and it goes even beyond the videos that you're looking at here. We've done a series on metaphysical as well, and there's like top theory videos that we've gone through this over and over again. And what's so strange about this is it's like if these movies didn't exist, we would probably not know that this was happening. Like part of me is like,
Yeah.
well, why is it targeting movies? But it's targeting all kinds of things. We're just not aware, and it's the movies that are pointing it out, I think.
Yeah, because movies are, I mean, it's like songs, you know a song by heart. You can sing a song, the movies, you recite things. I mean, and also I think these things also affect us, more of an emotional level too. I mean, either whether it's a song or a certain movie that's like really impactful. It's like these things we just tend to remember.
Yeah.
It's an easier way for like collectively people to remember something. But I mean, there's definitely changes in our world, real life changes, like Nelson Mandela dying in the 90s that a lot of people remember. I mean, that's not pop culture. I mean, this is weird when we're talking about deaths that didn't happen. So one of the ones I'm always confused about to this day is Billy Graham. I can never remember if he's alive or dead, because I swear I remember him dying like 3 times now, and there was like a big funeral for him too.
He's definitely dead now.
Is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, look here.
Is he dead now?
February 21st, 2018.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember when yeah, okay, because that's it. Because when he did die, I was like, dude, I thought he was already dead. Like, seriously, I remember him also dying in the 90s, and then I think in the early 2000s he might have died again. It's like, I don't know. Okay, Lindsay, can you play this last clip real quick? Somebody actually made this, so what we're seeing is not real. Just play it, but they added effects or special effects to this. So there's Jaws smiling, and then she smiles, and she actually has braces in this scene. because somebody added them. But in the original one, I think it's even more prevalent. Now, some people are like, oh, it's because of VHS and you can't see very well. And it's like, no, seriously. I mean, everybody was talking about this. And that was the big part of the movie. And then the song even builds up to it. It's like the song is building up and then she smiles. And then that's like crescendo of the song. And then it's like, oh, wait, she doesn't even have braces anymore. So what the heck does that mean? So anyway. So I just thought that newspaper article was very fascinating, to say the least.
Good find, Ben.
Yeah.
Very good find.
All right. And you have something for us, right, Rob?
Oh, yeah. We got a metaphysical minute. Let's do it. So I like to take some time in these segments to show people some of the things that our fans are sending us, because they're pretty awesome. And this is something from a fan named Blanca, and I'm going to read this. This is from her. Quote, "This orb was a part of a video I recorded, and it was bright and extremely exciting for me to witness. It danced in front of me." Okay, so now Lindsay's going to pull this up here. It says, "I slowed down the video to discover how freaking huge it was and bright as the moon. Never have caught anything like it, but have many connections with the spirit realm in my home and on my property. I believe this was in about 2017. So look at that.
Dude,
like,
that is, wow.
It's so bright. Like, it almost looks like there's a spotlight in there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it does.
So bright. It was bright and extremely exciting for me to witness. Pretty crazy. So anyway, Blanca, thanks for sharing that with us. And that was this week's metaphysical segment.
If anyone has any more pictures or stories to share, please send them to us at onedgeofwonder@gmail.com.
Yeah, I would love to, we can have more, anything you guys find.
For sure.
We can present it on the show. Definitely. All right. Why don't we get into some of this, some of this stuff before we jump into all the crazy Trump memes?
Oh, you mean like the black ring of smoke UFO that transforms from smoke into a UFO and then back into smoke again?
Yeah, let's get into this. So this is I don't know if you, well, I did find, we'll bring some more recent videos of this stuff, because this was going in the news a while. Whoa, sorry, we just got a $94 donation.
Hey, wow. Oh no, Karamar 58, in memory of my mom who passed away yesterday. She was 94. Dad passed 4 months ago. They're together again. Watching you guys helps me so much. Keep the content coming. Karamar, all the best to you and your family. She's passed from this world, but she's not gone, for sure.
That's for sure. Always with you. Both of them.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry to hear, though. All right. Thank you for the donation. That's, man, really amazing. All right, Lindsay, you want to open this up? So remember, this is from somewhere around, actually, it might have even been the 50s. I think I said the 60s, but I think it was the late 50s. So go ahead and play a little bit of this.
Man,
There's this guy talking, but.
Oh, I love this graphic design from this day.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's so So there's actually a video of it. Right now they're showing photos.
A series of photographs taken at Fort Belvoir, Virginia in the late 50s. A large U.S. military installation. A bunch of young soldiers were out training one afternoon. One of them had a camera, and they're sitting taking a break, and they look up in the sky, and they see this.
Is that Luke Skywalker with a ponytail?
And they said, "Holy conniption, what's
kind of
that?"
look like him.
And they continued to watch, and they continued to take pictures. And this strange circular object in the sky,
I think
proceeded
those are
to change right in front of their eyes.
Wow.
Wow.
Can you, man, I was
Yeah.
so much more fascinated by that guy's hair. I couldn't even see the photos of the UFO. I'm sorry.
It's like, wait, oh yeah, we're talking about UFOs, not hair.
I was like, wow, he's really, really owning that. Like that ponytail and the bangs in the front. Like, man, wow, good for you. Yeah. Anyway, back to the UFO stuff. What did you want to tell us about this, Ben?
Keep playing it, Lindsay.
But they continued to snap pictures and they continued to look, and their mouths were hanging open by this time. And this thing continued to turn itself into a cloud. And after it had done so, it flew away at a high rate of speed. The point I make is simple. The next time you're cloud watching and you see lenticular clouds, you may be indeed looking at a lenticular cloud. But then again, you may not be looking at a lenticular cloud. Look carefully. Pay attention.
Wow.
Wow, yeah. Words of wisdom from the man with the golden hair.
Someone said his name is Bob Dean. Yeah, it is Bob Dean. Okay.
Bob Dean is a legend.
Yeah. So, and then Lindsay, can you show this next link in here? So we talked about this on the show recently, especially I think when we were covering our clouds. We recently did a whole live show on the different clouds and stuff like that. But more recently, there has been these strange clouds that have been appearing in the sky.
Oh, snap.
Yeah, they don't have any explanation for this.
Well, now they do, Ben.
Back. What'd you say, Rob?
I said now they do have an explanation potentially.
Yeah. There's actually a video in that article too. Down below, yeah. Because the whole thing, they're filming some event, and then all of a sudden this like black ring of smoke comes over. And I think the official explanation was, okay, that's something that they're creating there. Okay. Or are they?
That's scary looking anyway, though.
What the heck is that?
It's a black smoke ring that they made?
Yeah, that one they actually made. The one on top, I think they're showing different. It's almost like they're showing it to try to debunk the one that they're filming on top. So the one that's on top was filmed over the UK. Actually, it was Kazakhstan that it was filmed over. But
hold it. Yeah, Look how much effort it took for them to make that black smoke cloud. So
exactly.
It's not like somebody's going to take all of that time to do that,
right?
To create that.
And then also, the other aspect is that this is slowly going to fade, and then there's all the smoke around it. The one that was caught. No
smoke around it.
There's no smoke around it. There's no smoke dissipating from it. It just is literally a ring of cloud. But it's still weird.
There's a trail too. Look at that trail.
Yeah.
You can clearly see it.
Yeah. The other one, there's and same thing in the one in the other video too. There isn't a trail with it. So, and these have been popping up more and more in the sky. So, So this other one, Lindsay, and that okay. So there's another gigantic black ring in the sky, and yeah. So this one also looks like it could have
been man-made, or
well, no, it doesn't say that it's man-made. No one. So this one doesn't really have any explanation for what it is. They said there are actually many reports of these dark circles with speculation that it could be swarms of insects.
Whatever. Swarms of insects.
Or birds.
Such
as starlings that are known to flock in displays of swarm behavior and beautiful flight formations. Yeah, I don't think that's a bird.
So there's the
so that one is the one that's fake. Unfortunately, they're combining these things, and I think this one is legit. That one we're seeing right now is not. So I'm sorry they've like combined these and then this is the kind of thing that they do, and then it kind of distorts what's real and what's fake, and then it's easy for science to be like, see, this is all fake and blah 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 blah. And it's like, no, that first one is real. If you go back to that, pause it at the beginning, Lindsay, where it's over the cloud, because that one that's over the cloud in the beginning, this one right here, this is very similar to what was captured in the 1957 video, and it's perfectly over a cloud. So,
oh, weird.
I don't know.
That's weird that it's perfectly over a cloud.
Yeah, so I don't know. Anyway, but I just thought that was an interesting explanation of what he gave from that 50s video. So,
oh yeah, so we have a whole episode about the anomalies around Mount Shasta, and this episode actually goes in and out of different, but the lenticular clouds are a part of this episode, Mount Shasta History of Anomalies. You should definitely check this out. This is part 1 of a greater series. Actually, it's more like part like 3 or 4 if we're getting technical, but pretty cool episode, so definitely check that out.
And then this was okay. So this is filmed over Nevada on July 29th, and it's 3 UFOs flying over Nevada. So far, there hasn't really been any official explanation.
I don't know. I'm kind of hungry right now. They look like chocolate chips, to be honest.
Chocolate chips?
Chocolate chips in the sky, Ben. Be delicious.
Chocolate chips in the sky.
Is that a plane or is that another UFO?
That's what I was trying to just figure out.
2, 3. All right.
And then there's a plane, it looks like. And if it's a plane,
look at that. That is a plane.
That's a plane.
That
looks like a flying cow.
I was gonna say, like, what is that?
I don't know what that was.
That's totally a flying cow. Or it was like Mothman.
Or Mothman
chasing the UFOs. Wait for me, guys.
Yeah.
Take me home.
This is very interesting. I mean, the problem is with this stuff, these viral videos, it's so hard to say whether it's real or fake. I mean, this isn't even that viral, honestly. I guess it went on TikTok. It was more on TikTok, you know. I haven't looked into the account to see what they're posting and what they have or anything else. I just kind of saw this and thought, well, this is, yeah, if this is real. But anyway, it's like one of those things now where we're all, I think everyone's now accepting, like, yeah, this stuff is real. I mean, there's obviously UFOs all over the place. Whether or not this video is real is one thing or another, but still, you know, it's cool to talk about. And speaking of UFOs, we have moon landings.
Oh yes, the identifiable object that the Indians sent to the moon.
Yes, they did. Oh man. See the moment India becomes 4th country to land on the moon.
They sent an IFO to the moon, an identifiable flying object. Look at this guy. He's like, this is my version of patriotism.
Yeah, that's the Indian president.
We did it, guys. We did it.
I do have a lot of questions about this, you know, and it's not because I think the world is flat, but
like, why did they go? Like, what's the point?
What's the point of them going? I mean, I can understand, like, you know, every country wants to have that success. It's so funny. There was an article, actually it was on MSN.com, published it. They said because they were reading the Reddit conspiracy forum. And the headline was, they don't have Stanley Kubrick, moon landing truthers call BS on India's moon landing. But this is the official photo from India. My question that I've had, and there wasn't like a moonwalk. It was all like, you know, just computers and things like that. Who took the photo? I still am not really sure how that worked. I guess they launched this thing, and then
that really does look super photoshopped, but the way that the light is hitting, like if they did actually use those colors on the thing, like the fluorescent colors, the way that the light is, if it was blasting that, it really would look weird, like out of place, if like as it was coming down. But this, like the way that those thrusters are just, that looks fake, man.
I know, that's what everyone's saying. Now there was a photo going around that some people that was fake. Like when you brighten up the photo, it actually has somebody's name that they created it. But I found out that that was actually from a video game. It was like moon landing video game, and the ship or whatever that is, the shuttle thing, was completely different. So that
Yeah, I'm thinking about this, Ben. I think I might have an answer as to why they would go to the moon. Like if you think about where India is situated, they're in a very precarious place in the world, and they're very vulnerable to a lot of things. Like China is right next to them, Russia is right up there, then they have Eastern Europe right there. So they're amidst like Ukraine, Russia, all of this stuff, and China. And I think maybe them developing this technology and proving that they can do something like this sends a message to the countries that are around them that they're not pushovers. Maybe that's why.
Yeah, no, it does. I mean, it's a very dominating thing, you know. That's why JFK was like, we're gonna go to the moon, you know, because
the Cold War.
Yeah, it's like, oh wow, like you're you know, we're powerful now. We just went to the moon,
right?
And India's like, hey, we can do this too. Did they really go though? I don't know. You know, I had doubts about China because China went to the moon too, supposedly. But then they released that photo that had like it looked almost like something from Stonehenge. It was like a horseshoe kind of shape that was on the moon that the China rover caught. And they didn't, I don't know if anyone noticed it, but then when you zoomed in on it, you could definitely tell it was a structure. So everyone's like, whoa, what is that? So that to me showed like, okay, China probably did go there. Again, there was no people that went on the moon. So yeah. This is a more of a high quality photo, but I don't know if that makes it look more fake or real.
Yeah, this looks like a Disney Pixar clip.
Yeah, it does.
What'd you say, Lindsay?
It looks like someone did a needlepoint of a moon landing.
Just to zoom out, can you zoom out? How did they get this exact like camera position? Like this looks bizarrely like a 3D animation position for a camera. Like, where did the camera come from? Like they would have had to send a separate object that had a camera on it to film this landing. Normally you'd have a camera on the thing that was landing, not a photo of the thing. Do you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. Someone my mom said it looked like Lego. It looks like Legos.
It does though.
It does look like Legos. It's just well, the question I have is like, why is this image so clear, yet the image that they released publicly looks like it was shot from like a Nokia 2000. So, so this is like like that. I don't know. Of course, this is a lot further away.
Actually, I'm more willing to believe this image than the other one.
Yeah, I am too. Wait a minute. This looks totally different. Can you go back to the other image? I want to see the two, Lindsay. Go back to the other one.
Yeah. Yeah. Like that looks stretched. The other one. This looks flatter. Now, okay. So this would have to have been squeezed. This image.
Yeah. Well, also, okay. The colors are totally different here.
No. No, if the sun was blasting this thing, that would still look fluorescent. They're not totally different.
That's like purple.
Go back to the other
go back
one.
to the other one again.
Yeah, why is that black on the front though? And then
That's what I'm
it's
saying.
purple.
Okay, granted, we can't see the other side.
Is the contrast pumped up
So
on the image? You know what I mean?
Yeah, so the other side could be what we're seeing. You know, we it's hard to say. We're only
That's true.
seeing these two images, right? So we could be seeing the backside here. We
Wait,
could
go
be
back
seeing
to the other one.
There are 4 sides of this thing.
Okay, dude. There is no red on the bottom of this. Go to the back to the other one. Look at the red on the bottom. What's the red stuff?
Yeah, I don't know, dude.
What are those red things? And then if you go back to the other one,
It could be that the red is coming out here where it's another color and here where it's another color. Because look at this one. This is also not
Okay.
red, and those
Okay,
are
you're right. Those are those thruster things that we're seeing.
yeah, but those thrusters are white dudes. They would not be bright red like that.
I don't know, man. All I know is that okay, it does match up with those thrusters. Why is it red? I don't know.
No, that little thing, that little square right there is the green on the side of the like on the side of the spaceship. It's not the same color as those thrusters. So, okay, again, it could be a different side of this that we're seeing, but the red on the bottom does not make any sense. Can you back again?
We need to see these side by side. Well, actually,
how about I pull them up side by side while we play a trailer?
Okay, let's do that.
That's a good idea.
I didn't want to go public without evidence because I knew no one would believe me. The entire incident happened about 5 to 6 minutes in total. And my mom shouts really loud, "Oh my God, what is that? What is that?" At no point did the 2 men in black or the Air Force gentleman ask my mother or her friends what did they see. They looked human, but they did weird things. The men in black, they said, "You will report it as a helicopter crash, or we will take your son away." The men in black play the narrative and the media outlets spew it back out. This was 1991, Project Mockingbird in full effect.
All right, guys, you can find that on rise.tv along with all of our other series that we have done. And just recently, we just did a whole thing on reptilians, believe it or not. So, yeah, if you haven't seen those, you will love them. So you will check it out on Rise TV.
There's a great comment here. The PlayStation 5 has better graphics than that.
PlayStation 5. Oh man, that's funny. All right. All right, Lindsay, do you have those? Are you able to get those side by side? There you go. What the heck?
You know, okay, can I actually say something that might be a little bit crass here?
Okay.
All right. You know how everyone kind of loves watching Bollywood films because they're so awkward?
Yes.
Okay, there's like this sort of naivety and awkwardness that happens in Bollywood films, whether it be with their special effects or everything else, that is just like actually quite endearing. I wonder if maybe this is faked and they're using Bollywood style like special effects to try to create a moon landing, and everyone there is sold on it because they're so used to watching Bollywood films, and then us here, we're like, I can't, this is not right. Like, they don't look the same. Do you know what I mean?
Right.
I mean that in the kindest way possible. But
I mean, if you're going to space, you'd think you would, especially if you're going to the moon for the first time, you would want to take like 1 million photos. You want it to be extremely documented, even the process before you go, like how building the craft, everything, and I'm not saying that I haven't looked into it as that deep. There might be that stuff, and it could just be an all Indian, which is why we're not seeing it over here, or Hindu. That's what they speak, right? Hindu.
What's up with the checkerboard thing?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
Because look, dude, look, this is the same photo from the same angle. And
I'm
the reason
thinking
why
the same thing.
I'm confident about that is because that panel on the left side of that's sticking out, the square panel, is also appearing in the same place here.
I know. The only thing is we don't know what's on. No, that's not true. Because we would be seeing, let's just say that is the other side. So that it wouldn't make sense. It actually wouldn't make sense, because if we are looking at the other side, let's just say the one on the right with the black part is the other side of what's on the purple, then that wouldn't make sense according to these two photos, because
dude, I got it.
Yeah.
They tried to Stanley Kubrick this thing and they used Bollywood directors to help them.
That's probably it. And also, like, look at the top, okay, granted, I don't know. The one on the right, I think, is landing, and the one or it's the other way around. The one on the right is taking off. The one on the left is landing. Now, maybe after it got there, it closed up or something like that. That's the only thing I can possibly think about is like, okay, we're not getting, maybe we're not getting the full story here. But
dude, why are the things on the bottom red?
That's what I can't understand.
Checkerboard.
And the checkerboard. And what happened to that purple thing? Yeah, this really doesn't make a lot of sense. And you're right about the camera angles being warped and everything else. I'm trying to look past that, so it's like you can't really look at exactly the shape of it because we don't know what kind of lenses were being used for this.
Like, some things I agree with you. Some things could be written off, but some things there's zero explanation for.
Yeah. Yeah, it really is.
That checkerboard is bizarre, dude. And the red things on the bottom.
The red things on the bottom, which clearly are the thrusters there. Why aren't they red in the other photo? It's like, what, after it landed?
Fluorescent bright. So fluorescent bright in that picture. Like the contrast is way, way up.
Extremely. Yeah. And it's like, even if that was the sun, that doesn't explain why they're red.
All right. Maybe we should just move on.
Oh, this is like kind of bothering me now. I want to figure this out.
It's just weird.
Hindi. Okay. I'm sorry. I said Hindu. Sorry. Hindu is the religion. Hindi is what they speak over there. I'm sorry. I messed up on that.
It's all right. I can barely remember where anything is in the United States, never mind another country.
All right, why don't we talk about quantum entanglement?
Sounds good. Let's go right into something way more complicated than the Indian.
Yeah, actually, this is pretty complicated. All these articles that they're written, I don't know if they're written by like scientists with PhDs or people that don't understand this stuff, and therefore it's hard for the reader to understand it, because if you're writing about something that you don't understand,
they're like word salading something they don't understand.
Yeah. So I don't know. I haven't really looked into whoever wrote this article. I don't even think anyone wrote it. It's
all right, so did they microscopically track the yin yang symbol or something? What's going on?
Okay, so I'm going to try to the best to explain this as I can. Lindsay and I were actually both trying to like dissect this, and it was, yeah, it's like really in a more simplified way of explaining it. it does show how particles can affect each other in a quantum reality, in a quantum realm, and they were trying to display that using this yin yang thing. It wasn't. What's kind of confusing is that it looks like when these protons interacted with each other, they naturally formed this like yin yang symbol, and it's not quite that way, but the way that they interacted with each other could be explained by having the yin yang there, which is why they are showing it.
All right, so these weren't actually documented images of
No,
any kind?
This is actually a 3D model.
Why did they put in all those effects then?
Yeah, so they were like viewing this from a
Misleading.
3D model, and then from that they constructed based on the data that they were seeing. They were trying to take that data and composite an image that could be interpreted through that data, and the closest thing that they could come up with is the yin yang. So they were trying to combine the beams in order to make something recognizable. So essentially just trying to do like a yin yang thing. So it's kind of like, so our world is like a 3D world, and they're trying to figure out shapes of all. You can kind of do this with shapes of all kinds of things in our 3D reality, right? But in a quantum realm, you can't. It's like that. It's like that staircase. You know, the illusion of the staircase, where it's like when you're looking at the photo, you don't know if it's going up or going down. Do you know what I'm talking about? But I'll try to find that. Anyway, so like in a 4D world, or even like a 5D world, I guess you can even say that these like shapes, they can't exist in our reality of how this quantum entanglement works. So you would have like a shape that is like simultaneously going in like 3 different directions, but you can't make that. It's impossible to make. The only thing you could do is like create an image of it, more of like a an illusion kind of image where you know, it's like you like I said, the staircase, you look at it one way and it's like going down, and it's like you turn it around and it's like going up, and it's in this like weird geometrical shape. Like, I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
I'm
there.
following,
I'll try to find something that actually, Lindsay, while I'm talking about this, could you try to find that? Just type in illusion 5-dimensional shape or something, and it should come up right away. So their analogy was being able to construct a 3D image of a 3D object based on 2D images. And again, that's kind of like they're stacking these images on top of each other in a 3D world, and then it's like this 4D object. So this is why it's so wordy and so confusing. But in a nutshell, like putting all the jargon and all the scientific aspect aside and just pushing that away in very simple terms, it proves that there is something to this quantum entanglement, that the string theory, like this is kind of what I mean, but this is a pretty good example. Like, so is the staircase going up or down? Well, it depends on how you look at it. And if you flip it upside down, then it's like, it's even going in a different way completely. But there's way more complicated shapes than this. And they can be drawn on paper, but you can't construct them in our reality. Like, it's impossible to.
No, people have constructed staircases like that.
They have, yes. Yeah. But it's like the certain shapes where they just, it's like you can't, I mean, you could create something similar to it, but it's almost like two things simultaneously existing in the same space. And that's where it's like, okay, you can't do that. That's what they were trying to do with this image, So, anyway, I know this is kind of convoluted, but it's like, in simple terms, yes, that's essentially what they're doing. They kind of proved that quantum entanglement, this quantum computer aspect things, all have effects. So if you affect a particle over here, it simultaneously affects a particle over over here, you know, and that's what they can't understand. That's what they're trying to understand. And, you know, it's like they can only do it through science, because it's like that's all they have in this reality. They can't step out of this reality and say, well, how does this work in a different dimension? It's like they can't even figure that out. So that's why this is so convoluted, because it's like trying to figure out it's like having a flat piece of paper with a drawing on it and then making that like 3D, but it's not the drawing that's 3D, right? It's like you have to kind of pull on it and expand it, and then it's like, oh, okay, now it's a 3D image. Well, how do you get it to a 4D image, you know? So anyway, that's kind of my understanding of what they're talking about, but they are essentially trying to prove that this quantum entanglement actually exists and there is something to it by affecting different particles and how it responds. So, and then, you know, it's like we did this whole series on memory of water. We actually did like a 3-part series all about water. And essentially this was kind of the founding or the foundation for some of the experiments that they were doing. So for example, they would take like a vial of they would have like some kind of anti-serum, or, you know, I guess you could say medicine or something like that. They dilute it so many times that it would be like equivalent of putting like a vaccine in the ocean, like squirting a vaccine in the ocean, and then taking a vial, small vial somewhere else. You could, like, you know, put it in the Pacific Ocean, go to the Atlantic Ocean and take a vial. And they were finding traces that the water, that when they add it to the bloodstream, it was like remembering what that vaccine would do to the body and to the blood, and the blood was still reacting to it. So in other words, which completely like dumbfound them to the point where it was like this. I mean, it was like, this is like the greatest discovery in like human history. I mean, from their words, you know? So, so from that perspective, it's like, yeah, there's a lot that you could do, but, I don't want to get too much into it, because then we'll probably get,
I can show the audience what the study was that.
Okay, there you go.
This is what happened in the study that inspired all of these articles with the photos. So Ben and I did our best to, at the time when it first came out, before all the explanations, kind of read through all of the scientific jargon, honestly, which they're very specific terms in their field. So they're not writing this study for people like us. They're writing it for other physicists. So to the best of my knowledge, it's like they took 2 photons that were correlated, so they're quantumly entangled, and those can be viewed in a 3D model with this particular method they used in the study of 3D construction based on their data. So they tried to combine the beams that they had going to make something recognizable in our, you know, visual field in our 3D world. But what's interesting is like this approach can be used to find out the shapes of all sorts of things in lots of dimensions potentially. So they had an analogy in this study that, you know how when you're trying to make a 3D image, you're taking 2D photographs to stack up on top of each other to make that 3D image?
Yeah, kind of, right.
So like you're kind of taking 2D data in order to make something 3D. Well, what's interesting is, can you take 3D data, where what we see, to construct something that exists in 4D or higher that we can't exactly conceive of? Yeah, that's like an interesting implication. So like, what are quantum computers really doing? And what are the capabilities? And yeah, this looked cool with the yin yang, and they did that on purpose to my knowledge, but the implications of them being able to take data and construct an image is really pretty broad.
Yeah. So what I'm showing here is a really good example of that. You know, this is easy to draw in a 2-dimensional image that looks like a 3D image. But the thing is, this is actually more of a 5D image, because these lines and everything, they're not only cross each other, but they're like built into the same space. So if we try to recreate this 3D image, something tangible that you can hold, we wouldn't be able to create this, because there's shapes and spaces that exist that are overlapping each other in the same space. So that's why this is so hard to describe and so hard to do. But this is, again, this is what the word just completely.
Yeah, the problem is that this is all like kind of like theoretical nonsense. Like the only reason we can create something 3D from something 2D is because we live in a 3D world and we understand what that is. And so the 2D is just a flat piece of paper with something on it, right? But there is no premise for the 4D. So you're just assuming, like anyone would just be assuming what's actually there without being there. It might not even exist the same way that they think. So
that is true.
It's like they like the sacred geometry stuff. Like even that photo could be entirely misleading on what a 4D world is and looks like.
No, you're absolutely right. Actually, realistically, all we have are theories and minimal concepts of what we can understand. Because if you were to
also the 2D concept going to 3D may not even be a like reasonable example of that leap to a different level, because we live in a 3D world and this world was created based off of how the universe is structured. So who's to say that if you upped your level into that extra dimension that it would not be almost exactly the same as this, just things are like way different, like cooler. Maybe the physics run a little bit different, but it looks very similar, but things are more amazing. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
It's just like there's all of these notions that are being thrown out with these things without any, like, it's almost like a bizarre, like,
well, it's because it's more science than it is spirit in a spiritual
form. That's what I mean, though. It's like,
and I think
like going full, with science, like takes you to this like sacred geometry space that like is nonsensical and probably not even real.
Well, I think it's just because maybe the particles, once you get, in a higher density, those particles will be more refined and how they're interacting with each other. So I think the geometric figures is kind of showing like, well, there is everything in our world is like geometrical shapes that then have like a higher order to it. But from even a higher perspective, one thing that no one ever talks about is more of like the energetic aspect, where it's like, we have colors and lights, but from my understanding on a higher realm, those colors and lights actually have density and matter, where you could like imagine like a light and density where you can like actually touch light and like interact with it and actually feel it. It actually has like mass to it, where that's something we just can't even, we can't do that in our world right now. Sorry.
Right. I mean, weird. But it's like, but light is matter. Like these things
it is
matter here. It could just be like a more potent version of that is what I think.
Right. But I mean, like how you like interacting with like light as you would with water, like where you can touch water and play with water. Imagine like the same thing with light, or it's more of like the energy aspect of it. And I guess you can kind of do that with electricity.
That's also something that they will not discuss, but yet all of their physics revolved around it, which is, like the nuclear bomb, like all of that stuff was all about energy, releasing energy, and yet actual tangible versions of energy that they could be studying, like orgone, chi, like all of these things, they will not even go near, because if they did, it would remind everyone that actually the spiritual world is real. And science is not as smart as they're trying to make it off to be, because they're trying
all
to
these things. At that point, everything has healing properties too. That's the other aspect. Everything about this. Aligning the body using sound waves and all kinds of things. So, all right, we're gonna show another trailer, and when we get back, we'll finally start talking about Trump and show all the crazy memes.
All right, let's do it.
What came first? The chicken or the egg? How does the body know how to ride a bicycle or do the Macarena without thinking about it? What is the soul? If a tree falls in the forest and no one is around to hear it, does it still make a sound? And is there such a thing as mind over matter? People have been pondering deep questions for millennia, but it all goes back to one. What is consciousness? The body, mind, matter, or the soul? They say, I think, therefore I am. But what's the true power of our minds? How do our brains, minds, and spirits bring us things like works of art, inventions, music, and enlightenment? This may be the very deepest topic that exists in the cosmos. So let's dive deep into it. From the pineal gland to the brain, to the highest heights of heaven, to supernormal abilities. How does it all come together? You may have thought about it before, but you've never heard about the truth like this. Join Edge of Wonder for The Power of the Mind, Part 1. Fantastic superpowers and the brain.
Well, hey, if you're tired of that scientific nonsense and you want something real and tangible that can actually give you hope and provide you with much needed energy in your daily lives, definitely go check out that series, The Power of the Mind, on rise.tv, because, yeah, it's real. That stuff we found, that'll lift you up for sure. Very interesting stuff.
All right. Why don't we get into some of these?
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I mean, as we all know, yeah, Trump was arrested. I thought this was actually pretty interesting. It just shows both Republican and Democrats on both sides. Like, yeah, it's one of the same. It's like, yeah, the right wing and the left wing, and they're all the same bird in that sense. But did you see what Biden said today? He called Trump a handsome man.
Did he really?
Have you seen Donald Trump's mugshot yet? Mr. President, are you worried at all about that?
Everyone's booing.
What'd you think?
Handsome guy.
Have you seen
Handsome
Donald
guy.
Trump yet?
So many questions I have that will never be answered, you know?
We can talk about it on Rise TV. All right. And dude, yeah, some of these are just, some of them are on both aspects are pretty funny overall. So Trump made his first tweet on X, formerly known as
Twitter.
And this is what he tweeted out. So I still can't get over his photo. Everyone was
as
like,
soon as the mugshot got posted, within minutes, like tons of memes had just started flowing in.
I mean, people, this is funny. You can look at that from both perspectives. I mean, that's what I like about this one. Actually, if you're against him, you'd just be like, yeah, that's exactly it. You're for him, and it's like, okay, But
his stare is so like kind of haunting, almost like he's staring down the people that like put him through this.
Yeah, I know.
The lightning. Oh, dude, this one is so good. Like, because in that movie, American Psycho, he gets jealous of this like one guy in like when they're comparing business cards. It's so true. Like, it has a watermark there.
What chicken nuggets in my microwave? See at 3 a.m.
That's so good.
This is really good.
Oh yeah. So Paris Hilton, Lindsay Lohan. What's that woman's name at the bottom left again? Nicole Richie.
Nicole Richie.
Yeah, and then Donald Trump. That's funny. Yeah, it's like a lot of these comparing ones. Yeah, here. Who cares? Trump isn't even the first actor from Home Alone to have his mugshot released.
This is pretty funny. I like this one too. I
Yeah.
like the MAGA shirt. Oh man.
Wanted for president. Do you know what's crazy
I like
about
this
this
one.
whole thing, Ben?
What's that?
Is let's say they put Trump in prison, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so hold on, Lindsay, pause for a sec. Let's say they put Trump in prison and he continues to run for president. Trump could be voted in and then that day completely relieve himself of all of that and then step into the White House.
Yeah, he could actually.
He could give himself a presidential pardon and then just walk right into the White House.
Can you still run for president if you were in prison?
You can run from prison.
You can.
You can't. I tried to find this out yesterday. You can't.
Yeah, I didn't know this answer, so I was curious.
Right. That's
about
why
it.
I was kind of like, well, aren't they doing this because then he won't be able to run? But actually, no. In fact, he can run. Like if everyone in the country decided some guy in prison was the guy to be the president of the United States, he's president. That's my understanding. Now, I could be wrong, but that he could run. And also he was an ex-president, right? So he was a president and he didn't do 2 terms. So he's more likely to get in than anyone else, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, the laser background's great.
Yeah, I love this Babylon Bee. Trump pays $12 extra to get the cool laser background. This is my favorite one. Cashier's watching me, putting no tip. Blood in the Crips. Oh my gosh. Look at this photograph.
Finally, somebody used Nickelback for something positive.
Oh my gosh, this is so good.
I've always said Nickelback's force should be used to create, not to destroy, and this has done that.
The next one is my favorite. You want to see it?
Yes. Ken from the new Barbie movie. That's funny.
Oh, this is so funny. I mean, I'm glad that overall you just got to laugh at this stuff. It's like, what else can you do? It's crazy. So, me looking for monsters when I accidentally left the closet door open after turning off all the lights. Okay.
I made a couple of these.
Did you really?
Yeah, but I didn't show them to anyone. If you force my hand, I'll show them to you on rise.tv. So
this one is one of the ones that on the left did, and they just have to give this like extreme long explanation for it. But the Kubrick stare, yeah, these are all Stanley Kubrick movies, I guess. So they're trying to compare that, but this is so funny.
That's true. That's the look I have on my face every time I want to go to Chick-fil-A on a Sunday.
And actually, Trump is now using this as his campaign photo. That's what's even more funny about this. If you go to his website,
him putting that on
mugs, t-shirts.
No. Him putting that on Twitter yesterday, was for his campaign. Like the smartest thing he could have done if he wants to raise money.
I 100% agree.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like it's up there. I think right now it's got like 3 or like somewhere between 1 and 3 million likes. So I think 1.5 it has right now, 1.5 million likes, and it's definitely in the top 100 tweets of all time. I was looking into it. I think the top tweet of all time has like 5 million likes or something like that. It's from one of the boy Korean bands or something. Yeah.
So wait, how many likes does it have so far?
1.5, I think.
That's a lot.
It is a lot. No, it's still up in the. It's like in the top 50 or something like that. I was looking into it. Yeah, so it's like in the top 50. I mean, it just came out yesterday, so it will probably just still keep going up. And then their the him on Tucker Carlson. I mean, that video has like, I don't even know, like 100 million views or something like that. It's crazy.
Yeah. Did you watch any of that interview?
I haven't yet.
Okay. We can talk a little bit about it on Rise.
Yeah. Why don't we go over to Rise TV and talk a little bit about it? And then we're also going to do your guys' Q&A. And then, of course, we have our top 10 weirder news of the week with edible microchips on cheese.
I knew that cheese was making me feel weird, man.
Yeah. YouTube guy ends up burning up his $400,000 Ferrari. And we have porch piracy taken to a whole different level and a couple UFO stuff. So,
all right. Well, we'll see you over on rise.tv. If you can support our work, we'd really appreciate it. We've got tons of videos over there that'll keep you busy. Lots of new followers on there recently. And yeah, so we love having you guys here and in the chats. It's a great environment over there. Everybody's laughing it up right now. So yeah, we'll see you over on rise.tv. Thanks for being with us this week.
Mm-hmm.
A tunnel, a bright light, an out-of-body experience. We're told death is the end. But what about people who came back from the brink? All around the world, people report near-death experiences. Strange phenomena, divine beings, miraculous stories of the impossible. Back from certain death. And decades of scientific research into it all. What's so big that it could be the breakthrough of an age? How are consciousness, the brain, and the soul intertwined? Perhaps the great beyond is closer than we think. It's time to get into the undisputable patterns, capturing the attention of scientists, doctors, atheists, priests, moms, and pops. This is bigger than we ever could have imagined. Near-Death Experiences Part 1. Amazing Stories of the Afterlife.
All right. Welcome to Rise